Hello everyone, welcome back for another video. Hope you're having a great day and that you are all doing well. To start things off, there's a lot of interesting news around Ethereum at the moment. So to start things off, a week-long vote on a proposal in regard to the Parity hack wallet reversal, which proposed to restore a disabled contract to unfreeze 587 wallets holding 513,000 Ethereum, held equal to around $360 million at today's prices, has ended with the majority no vote on April 24th. This was yesterday. So for those who do not know, I'm not sure if they're going to say it in the article, there was an incident sometime a couple of months ago where someone said that they had done something to the code of one of the contracts and it froze, it got torn apart, it messed up. The person said that they did it by accident and a lot of people didn't obviously believe them. Yeah, it says right here. Okay. In November of last year, a Parity user accidentally killed the Parity multisig library by activating a vulnerability to become the owner of the library and then self-destructing it. It takes a couple of steps to get to this point, so a lot of people don't believe this person. Prior to that, the library had been fixed and redeployed with the vulnerability after Parity was hacked of around 150,000 Ethereum in July of 2017. In response to the accidental freezure of the Ethereum funds, Parity wrote in a blog post that they are working on Ethereum proposal EIP that would propose ways to unblock the funds. EIP 999, presented on April 4th and written in regard to the frozen Ethereum, suggests restoring the wallet library to a patched version to allow the owners of the dependent multi-signature wallets regain access to their assets. EIP 999 received 330 no votes, 300 yes votes, and 9 I do not care votes. So Ethereum has had a history of things, especially smart contracts on their platform, freezing or not working or blocking people out of their funds. And this is why we have, I believe this is why we actually have Ethereum Classic as well. So to kind of segue into this, it literally is the based on this entire topic. With the entire thing happening around proposal 999, it has led a lot of people to believe that because they have voted no, that Ethereum may be on the brink of another blockchain split. Those in favor of the proposal point to the frequent losses of Ether due to buggy contracts, arguing that the platform should ensure against such avoidable mistakes. But on the other side, many warn that editing code after deployment could damage not only the security, but also the integrity of the platform. It's clear no matter where you stand that the issue is contentious enough that if EIP 999 goes forward, which it did not, and implements, then it will generate a contentious hard fork. Developers of Ethereum's Miss Browser, Alex van de Sande, said during the dev meeting on April 20th, it's unavoidable that it will create a split, and the fact that they have voted no to, or rather the majority voted no to finding a way to give these people back their money, it is leading up to another issue where Ethereum could once again split to restore the funds for these people. But then, so if you haven't noticed, Bitcoin has a lot of forks, and this is, at the beginning, this was kind of an issue more. Now people, people are behind, most people are behind the number one coin, the Bitcoin, whatever you want to call it. I'm not getting into all the politics of it. It seems like Ethereum could be going down this road as well, as far as there are a lot of things that have happened on the platform and on the network that a lot of people aren't too happy about. And there's a lot of discussions about creating new forks because people believe that Ethereum should be a certain way, that Ethereum should not be this way, that anyone who has lost their funds, they should be able to then fork it to get their funds back. But it creates a scenario where who then has the say as to how many Ethereum there are or should be, or exactly when a fork should happen or when a fork should not happen. Even if there is a majority or a minority vote happening, this could eventually get messy. Have a feeling around 3 to 5 years time, Ethereum may just become another thing like Bitcoin, where there's so many forks happening off of it because someone is, trying to say that this is how the network should be. that people will eventually stop caring about the other forks that have happening. But I think as of now, Ethereum Classic, and whatever this other potential fork could be, and maybe even a fourth one, maybe the only ones that are on people's radars. But let's hope that not even hope that they get it together. I think that so many things have happened with Ethereum, and don't get me wrong, it's one of my favorite coins. I've been with them since Ethereum was around $4 or $5. It's literally one of my top coins. But there are a lot of cracks, and they're starting to show. So let's hope that they kind of get it together. I don't know what else to say on the matter. Next up, Goldman Sachs has hired a crypto trader, and this is significant for a number of reasons. Goldman Sachs has hired former trader Justin Schmidt to head the multinational investment bank and financial service company's digital asset markets and Goldman Securities division, as reported by Tearsheet. Schmidt, who assumed the position on April 16th, previously served as both a senior VP at 7-8 Capital and portfolio manager at LMR Partners. The new addition to Goldman Sachs team represents the dramatic increase in institutional interest towards Bitcoin over recent months. Reports first surfaced regarding the Wall Street giant's plans to launch a cryptocurrency trading desk in December. Though the financial institution has reportedly denied the claims, Goldman Sachs did, however, help fund peer-to-peer payments technology company Circle in 2015, as recorded by Bitcoinist yesterday. The Goldman-funded company recently doubled the size of its minimum cryptocurrency trade requirements from $250,000 to $500,000, citing the fact that the market is robust. This is one of the places, if you are new or relatively new to crypto, last year we had a really big problem, especially in the beginning of 2017, where we had a barrage of banks and these huge corporations coming forward saying that they hated cryptocurrencies. There was no need for it. It was every other day. We had about a good 8-week period where prices were kind of slipping down because Goldman Sachs, Chase, JP Morgan, all these other institutions were coming together saying how much they hated cryptocurrencies. And now they're all tumbling into it, talking about how they see the possibilities of what it is. Many of these people did not even know what a Bitcoin was or what a blockchain was. People were trying to tell them about or ask them questions on panels about Ethereum and Ripple and what they thought about them. They did not know what these things were. This is once again why I say I believe that the cryptocurrency market is nowhere near where it should be, because all of these people are getting into the market. They know exactly what's going on, at least for now. At least they claim to know what's going on, and they have definitely been buying this cryptocurrency up. You can kind of tell there have been very low days in the market, and you see that the volume had increased dramatically. They're definitely buying all this stuff up, and now, I mean, when Goldman Sachs has hired a crypto trader in response to their clients' interest, I mean, like I always say, the writing is on the wall. I think something very big is going to happen, and I do not think that we are able to, not to get, I had a huge discussion with a friend a couple of days ago, not to even get into all of it. I don't know how interested you guys are, but there's something big at play here. You see all the news that I'm putting out every single day. There's a reason why multi-billion-dollar corporations or companies or banks are now talking about the cryptocurrency space and how they think that, there's enough interest that they'll definitely get into it. These people are also holding cryptocurrencies. They've been getting into the game. They're the people who are trying to force or get ETFs into the stock market and other things around the world. I think crypto is headed for really major prices that a lot of people aren't expecting. And yeah, that's enough. I'm not going to tell you the entire conversation that I had with my friend. You guys would look at the screen like I'm absolutely crazy. Once again, MarketWatch, the Wall Street Journal. MarketWatch, the news publishing unit of Dow Jones Media Group, announced Wednesday that it will begin tracking the market moves of 8 additional cryptocurrencies. I wonder why they would be doing that. On Wednesday, the company said that on top of its Bitcoin tracking tool, MarketWatch will display information for Ether, XRP, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ethereum Classic, Monero, Dash, and Zcash. The website has been tracking the price of Bitcoin since 2014. The new service will post real-time quotes for both the US dollar and the euro, as well as historical price trends for the 9 crypto assets using data from the cryptocurrency exchange Kraken. What did I say a couple of days ago when Forbes and Bloomberg were all posting articles about how this cryptocurrency and this so and so and so? They spoke for years only about how horrible Bitcoin was. 2017 was when they started talking about how cool Bitcoin was and you have to get into it and it's definitely digital gold and Bitcoin is definitely this. And now these are the coins that these three right here. I don't know if you've noticed or have been looking at CNN, CNBC, Forbes, Bloomberg, reading any type of financial news. Ether, XRP, and Bitcoin Cash are constantly on the radar of all these major institutions. That's not to say that these here aren't, but pay attention to what's going on. Something major is happening, and this is why we're receiving. There was someone said a day or two ago, was some huge financial institution person, whatever, was talking about how he thinks that Bitcoin is definitely headed to $90,000 this year because in about a month or two, all this institutional money will be tumbling into the market. Oh, a bit of a segue. I was going to post the article. The guy who, I think this might actually be it. Yeah, this article right here. I was going to post it. It's not really necessary. About everything that was happening in the cryptocurrency space and exactly what this guy was saying about which coins are securities and stuff like that. There's been a lot of talk about the market and where it will be in a couple of weeks because remember I was saying before how there was news that we would get clarification on which cryptocurrencies would be securities and stuff like that by June. It appears now, according to this guy's speech and according to the people in the SEC who he knows and has been talking to or whatever the case, blah, 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 he has stated that he thinks or knows, I'm not in that guy's head, that we will not receive proper clarification on which coins are securities until another 9 to 48 months. He said what's happening is that there's so many discussions going on. He thinks that a lot of lawsuits could eventually start tumbling out because if you label one coin as a security and 48 others not as securities, the one major coin is going to launch a lawsuit against the SEC, and all of this stuff could eventually have to go to the Supreme Court because no one wants to be labeled as a security, especially for Ethereum and XRP and as Ripple. There is no reason to label these things, not to completely segue off of this, but I guess it all has to do with the entire, cryptocurrency market thing that's going on. He says that he thinks this entire labeling of securities or what could be a security could actually take 2 to 5 years simply because of how complicated that it is. And he thinks that even the entire Howey test may have to be modified because of how complicated cryptocurrencies are. And this may be exactly why we saw or are seeing a spike in the cryptocurrency prices over the last couple of days, because we pretty much thought over the last couple of weeks that we would be seeing some type of regulations, but it appears none of this may be happening for years to come, which is kind of crazy. I'm sure we'll get more news on it as the weeks go on, but he said even this year in the US, we probably won't hear anything about it until around December, like some type of the beginning of talking about what the SEC is planning. So let the good times roll. One of the last things I want to talk about today is that MIT published an article, a paper on how exactly to destroy Bitcoin. And I started reading it and I thought it would be it was very different than I thought it would be. So they wrote 3 plans on how to destroy Bitcoin. And I want you guys to tell me exactly what you think about them. I don't think this is FUD. I hate using that term so much. It feels like I'm chewing a rabbit or something like that. They wrote these really ridiculous ways on how I don't know if they're actually scenarios that they think are logically going to happen, but they think that the first thing that could happen is a government takeover where governments are creating their own digital currencies. This is kind of likely. We had people from Japan talking about if other countries created their own cryptocurrencies, it would actually be the end of finance because it would be so torn apart because countries cannot be trusted. It's funny that a huge country would say something like that, but they think that if something called Fed coins, federal tokens, eventually are created, this will lead to the destruction of Bitcoin. They believe that if everything is tokenized, That is to say, let's say you are on Facebook and you're using Facebook coins and you want to spend it in Toyota and get Toyota Cash, where literally everything is completely tokenized. This would lead to a point where, Bitcoin is just completely irrelevant because you don't really need it because everything is then tokenized. Everything is, you can swap between all of these tokens at a moment's notice without actually the need of any other cryptocurrencies. The weirdest one is if Facebook somehow took over cryptocurrencies. That is to say, okay, I'll read through it because it's kind of weird. First, Facebook creates a proprietary third-party Bitcoin wallet and integrates it throughout Facebook's product suite, a scheme designed to trick users into giving the company outsized control of the Bitcoin ecosystem, and then pretty much them kind of forking because they control so much of Bitcoin that they would then be able to create their own cryptocurrency ecosystem, and the old fork that we now know as Bitcoin would silently die on the side. I don't see how likely that any of these are, and to be honest, if they did happen, I think it would take around 10 years. I think people would eventually notice if Facebook was buying up Bitcoin and then planning on forking it. I feel like we'd have a lot of red flags and a lot of articles about this happening. Kind of weird, MIT, if you are listening to this, I doubt it, that you would publish anything even close to this. I don't really see a reason why, and the news is kind of floating around. Everyone's kind of scratching their heads. Maybe they have something planned, but I have a feeling in 10 years, hopefully we're all rich enough that any Facebook Bitcoin fork probably shouldn't be affecting us at that point, because we're sitting on the beach drinking Mai Tai somewhere. The cryptocurrency market is slightly down today because Big Daddy fell a tiny bit. Who knows exactly what the reason might have been. I think we were relatively close to hitting 10,000 and people got kind of scared. So this is why you see this dip on just about every other coin. It hit some other coins harder than others, obviously. But a lot of them are still posting very healthy gains. And I think, because even when I checked a bit earlier, this dip, this going up right here, it wasn't even there. So I think hopefully late afternoon, maybe tonight, the market should actually be in green once again, because these aren't dramatically. If this had dipped like 27% or 15%, I'd be kind of worried. But I think everything will be going back up once BTC gets it back together. All right, everyone, that is going to do it for this video. A lot of crazy news going on. Let's hope that Ethereum gets it back together. This could also be the reason for the dip in their price. But I think long term, realistically, so much of the news that is going around anything Ethereum or Ripple or Bitcoin Cash or EOS or Litecoin related is usually forgotten after a couple of weeks. Point in case, the entire Ethereum hack that they had, or the freezing of the funds, was in no one's radar over the last couple of months, especially after it happened. I think, especially in the cryptocurrency world, the market moves so fast that our news also moves so fast, and we forget about any negative news that could have possibly happened even just a couple of weeks ago. But yeah. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys are having a great day wherever you are, wherever you might be. Let's hope the market is green by tomorrow, and I will talk to you all soon. See you.